everybody, welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been a while since I got the last one out, but over Christmas and life in general has gotten in the way of doing any videos, so I'm back at it now and try to get one out every week or so till it's done. So today in this video, we traveled 126 kilometers from Jimmy's place in Bay de Verde back down to the cabins in Hillside in South River. And we'll start off with a little video from Denise at Jimmy's.
This is the salt box at Jimmy's B&B with the addition that was put on about 10 years ago, and we're in Bay de Verde. Down there is the Anglican Church. The yellow house down there is where the owners of the B&B, the gentleman Bob Sutton and his 6 brothers and sisters lived. Rained overnight and now it's foggy but starting to burn off, so we're supposed to have a nice day. Amazing people here. Came down from breakfast and got hugs from Pauline. You see whales here sometimes? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to keep an eye out then. No, I didn't realize that.
So this is Bob. He's Pauline's husband. They've spent pretty much their entire lives in Bay de Verde, so he's a wealth of information. So we finally get away at, it was 11 o'clock or so. We just didn't want to leave. We had so much fun there. As you can see, the skies have cleared up, the fog's left, it's nice and sunny and warm, and we're off to take a different way back. Instead of taking that really tight trail that you saw in the last video that we're getting beat up pretty good, we decided we're just going to run the highway a fair bit until we get almost down to north of Clarenville, mostly because we don't have the time and we got a lot of ground to travel today. So here we are coming down just the back roads of Bay de Verde. They're all pretty small. In the last video I had mentioned the big crab processing fish plant that they had here, and I had mentioned it was 7,000 square feet. I meant to say 7,000 square meters, which is 75,000 square feet. So we're just gonna drive down through the town here, and we'll pull down to that plant. You'll see it's pretty big. So here we are. We just come up to a little scenic view, looking back over the town. So Denise got a few pictures here I thought we'd share. So we're heading out of the town now into the newer section up on the hill. And when they said every person has a view, they're not kidding. It doesn't matter where you live in this town, everyone's got a great view. And this part up here is where Jennifer, who is the daughter running the Jimmy's Place B&B, her and her husband live up in this section, and they were telling us about it the night before, so we thought we'd head out this way and instead of backtracking along the trail that we came in, which runs all on the cliffs that you can see down there. So we're just gonna drive through the back of town, and then we're gonna be heading back up the same trails that you saw us come in on yesterday. So we won't bother filming too much of that. And our first stop of the day, if you look way across that bay, there's a point going out onto the left. Will be our first stop of the day, and got kind of a cool little story for that spot. Coming up to where we went along the cliff yesterday, so now we're back on the same trail that we came in. This was a fun trail. I really enjoyed this, like I mentioned when we were coming in the other one. One thing I've forgotten to mention so far in the videos, Mark, who has RMAX4, so that's the 4 stands for 4-seater, and he had taken the back seats out and basically made a sort of a mini little pickup truck out of his machines, so he's able to carry not just his gear, but all the extra gear we needed for our camping and stuff. So there's no way that Denise and I could have ever packed everything just into our RMAX2 that we would have needed for the trip because we were camping. So Mark was able to take a lot of stuff for us, so that was planned from the start, and it worked out really well. Once we got onto the highway south of Old Perlican, it took us over to the coast. Got a few more coastal vistas than you see traveling the trails inland. And the white circle is where I spotted a trail going off to this area. I just happened to look over my shoulder and went, wow, that looks like quite the scenery. So we went down here and explored here for a little while. It's probably a couple of 100 feet drop down to the water here, so I crawled to the edge and took a shot over the side. Pretty cool crystal green waters here. Anyways, so the story that I was mentioned earlier is unfortunately Mark's wife Debbie had passed away a year before this trip, and her and Mark did a lot of trips on their ATV and traveled a lot. And so Debbie was a big collector of Swarovski crystals, and one of her favorite crystals was a ballerina that she had picked up. So as Mark was throwing the ashes out over here, which he promised to do on any trips that he took in the future, he'd take her with her. So here you see him spreading the ashes. And the crazy thing was, Denise just happened to snap a shot. And you'll see here in the picture, I've circled it. If you look closely as she got that shot of the ashes, you'll see the shape of a ballerina, just like her favorite Swarovski crystal ballerina. That was pretty crazy. As we're getting ready to leave, I just want to follow the trail down here a bit and see where it led to. But again, you got to be careful. These, of course, there's no fences or signs or anything warning you, so you better know there's a cliff there. Mark and I were joking around when we looked down here. you can do a big Thelma and Louise off any of these parts if you weren't too careful. So I drove down here a bit, but it's about as close as I wanted to get to the edge. Then I headed back up after this, and couldn't see Denise. Well, she'd walked up the trail a piece and was in her element with her. She loves flowers and gardening, and I found her in a field of wild roses, which you only see out on the East Coast, I believe, anyways. So she was just down there. I had to go find her, half buried in all these roses. Anyways, so the next part of the video will be between these two white lines, and this is a trail that circumvents around Carbonear, and I'll up until a few kilometers of when we get close to Carbonear, I'll run this in real time, so you can get a sense of what it was like for us riding the trails that day. see this trail's pretty darn rocky. A lot of sharp edge rocks, so we're just taking our time and picking our way through it. I don't want to go charging through here because it's easy to, tear the sidewall on some of these sharp edge rocks. So again, some decent little elevation, but kept coming up across these little water crossings, and you just can't see under some of them. So it's like, which way do you go? Just pick your line and hope you don't drop into a big hole or anything. And if we did, oh well, we got a winch, and which we never had to use once on the trip. Never got flat tires, nothing. So it was all good. But this stuff is fun. It's slow going, but I really enjoy this type of trail, just meandering through the back country of Newfoundland. So here we are at the end of that main trail around Carbonear. So we're just gonna take this short drive down the main dirt road here and turn back onto the last bit of trail that takes us right down into the town itself. So this is the, just passing to the right there is the trail where we came in on the way up, but we didn't come right into Carbonear itself. But this is getting later in the day, we were getting pretty hungry, so we decided, oh, let's go down here, and there's supposed to be a Subway. It turned out pretty good because had fresh lobster rolls, so that was a good little feast for us before we headed back to finish off the day. And for some reason, the Wikiloc trail that we were following, we didn't get to do one of the main trails in this area that takes us along the water and to Waltz Lookout, I think it is. I'd seen a lot in the CVN Trailways group, but we never did see that trail going or coming. So yeah, it was kind of unfortunate because I really wanted to see that part. So anyways, we finished up having our little feast of lobster rolls, and now we're continuing on the trail that basically comes out the south part of the town. So this is the first part you encounter, and it's just this tight little section. We came across some other riders. There just wasn't room for us to get by on the path with our wider machines, so these folks on their ATVs moved over for us. It was kind of them. And then this will take us right down into some subdivisions, and then we start heading out of the town back onto the main trailway that goes down along the water again. Here we've just passed the last of the homes south of Carbonear, and we just pulled over for a quick break here. You can see the town wrapping around the bay, so we stopped, got a quick little photo op here, then continued on our way. So here's the great signs that the CBN Trailway puts up all along their system, and just showing like who gives way to what. The trails here are really great shape. So now we're just been heading back down for a while. I just picked up coming back into Harbor Grace. This is a little old train station coming up. So on the way up, we stopped at a Yamaha dealership as Mark wanted to get some tranny fluid, and I had some clips come loose on the inside of one of my fenders. So we're gonna go through town and work our way back up to that Yamaha dealership. And we arrived just in time. They're going to be closing in a couple of minutes, but great bunch of guys in there. Had great service. Got what I wanted. Gave me the plugs. Said, nah, just they're worth nothing. You know, a few cents a piece. So he gave me what I needed and some extras. And we talked to them for a while. Then headed off back down to our cabins for the night. And for some reason, I don't remember. I don't know if I ran out of batteries or I just forgot to turn the camera on. But coming and going, I didn't get any footage of Bay Roberts, Clark Beach area. I really don't know why, but I guess we'll just have to go back and get some footage of that one of these days. So here we are coming into Harbor Grace. The trails again take you through the town and in and around. So everyone's great through these little villages and towns that you go through. You know, we're just behaving, not doing anything silly, just riding along, obeying the rules. Everybody just gets along great. It's just been like that everywhere we've been so far. So, you know, kudos to all these towns in Newfoundland that are doing what they can for the tourists that like to come through here and doing exactly what we're doing. It really is something that everybody else in the country needs to look at, because what they're doing here is pretty successful. So if any locals are watching this, I took this picture and I can't for the life of me remember where it was. One of the only pictures I don't know that I took, so I'm pretty sure it's Spaniards Bay, just up above Bay Roberts, but I'm just not sure. So it'd be great to hear from one of you to let me know what it was or is. And of course, the one picture I did get was in Bay Roberts, was at the brewery. Yes, that's always one of the more important parts. And went in for some taste testing and came out with a few beers and enjoyed some of them that night back at the cabin. Well, that's it for day 3. We'll see you shortly for day 4. And once again, thanks for watching. Till day 4, we'll see you soon.